Yes, sir. Y'all know we got to talk about it. Y'all know we got to talk about it. Is the mic loud? Hold on, let me turn it down a little bit. Y'all know we got to talk about it. Super Bowl 60 just happened. We just watched the Super Bowl. Just watched Super Bowl halftime with my boy Benito, and I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. That was a good game. That was a good game. That was a good halftime performance. But we're going to unpack all of that today. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend to tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? We got a live sports show over here right now. And we got to get to it. We got to discuss it because I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I was wrong. I was wrong. Now, of course, if you saw the last video, I made a late night Super Bowl prediction. And typically, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It's okay. The beautiful thing about predictions is that we don't know what's going to transpire in the game because we're only going off of stats, knowledge, and basically like what we saw. Right, so only what our eyes saw from the past couple of games, what we saw from the Seahawks and we saw from the Patriots, I thought the Patriots coming into this game was going to give the Seahawks a number, but I was wrong. But we'll get to that in a second. Super Bowl 60, a lot of people were saying this was a horrible Super Bowl, and I couldn't disagree more. I couldn't disagree more. And again, the people that were saying that it wasn't a good Super Bowl are the non-fans. Again, if you're a true, like me, like a true fan of the league, right? Today was the season finale, right? So we just got to watch the last episode. And sometimes the last episode isn't always the best episodes in the show. We've seen that time and time again with every show. BMF is a prime example of the season finale episode wasn't as good as episode 1. Episode 1, as y'all remember, was Dak versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Y'all remember that Jalen Carter spit on Dak and he got ejected and the Dallas Cowboys. That was the first game of the season. So again, season game 1 is going to be a lot different than the season finale. And that's what we got last night. And again, we got a defensive game. But personally, I'm not even gonna lie. Don't put no more Super Bowls on NBC. NBC, it felt like a Sunday night football game. Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico, and I like that duo. But personally, for the Super Bowl, I'd rather have had Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt. I'd rather have had, you know what I'm saying, Tony Romo and what's my man, Jim Nantz. Like I would have rather had a different duo. Respectfully, like Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico, it just felt boring. The commentary was boring. That's why a lot of times I'll be watching the games on mute. Sunday night football, especially, I'm watching the game on mute. I don't want to hear Chris Collinsworth and love and respect to Mike Tirico, but it's just not a good pair. Respectfully, it's not a good pair. And it was just a snooze fest. I like Maria Taylor. So I like the Sunday night football product, but it just felt like another game last night. It didn't feel like the Super Bowl. And then they didn't add any graphics or anything to the screen to make it look more exciting. Remember last year, Fox changed the score, and we was like, oh, why did they change the scoring banner? Because it was the Super Bowl, so they were just trying something different. And I just felt like NBC, it just felt like a Sunday night football game, literally. It literally was a Sunday night football game. And most people don't even watch Sunday night football games because they don't watch football all day long. So that was my only gripe last night was I felt like it being on NBC respectfully just felt like another game. And it didn't really feel like the Super Bowl. Now, that aside, because again, I'm just nitpicking. My boy Bad Bung, a.k.a. Benito, if y'all didn't know, you know what I'm saying, performed last night at the Super Bowl halftime show. And it was an amazing show. It was an amazing show. Again, I'm all for production. I'm all for sounds. Right? I'm all for choreography. I want to see dancing, right? I'm stage play. Again, I'm an artist, right? So I talk sports, but I'm also an artist as well. So there are certain things within the performance that I'm looking for. And we were able to get all of that with Bad Bunny. Sure, he was not talking in English. And I know that was a big thing last night was, well, they could have just put the subtitles on the screen. Well, then that would have took away from the performance. The NFL knew exactly what it was doing, and it wasn't targeting American audience. They wanted the global reach last night, which is why I think, if I'm not mistaken, it said it had over 130 million viewers last night. And again, this is just a rough estimate. We don't know the exact number, but this is just a rough estimate that I had researched and found out last night. I'm sorry, today. I don't know why I said last night, but today. So again, the NFL wasn't thinking about Americans last night. That's why they didn't put the subtitles on TV. They know everybody else that was going to be watching outside of America was going to know exactly what he was saying. And that's their target audience. Again, the NFL, if y'all didn't know, this entire season was over in London. They were all overseas for the middle part of the season. For about 6 or 7 weeks, every game, it was a game at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was playing over there in London. The NFL is trying to become global, just like the NBA, right? Just like soccer, right, has become global, meaning you're starting to see more American teams. The World Cup will be here this year. So again, what these brands understand is they want to be able to reach outside. They want to have as many viewers and clicks, likes, retweets as possible. So Bad Bunny performing last night was simply that. It wasn't about them trying to entertain America. And then as we saw, they had the Turning Point American halftime show. They had Kid Rock. They had a whole lot of people over there. They said that had 4-5 million people watching. This had 100 million watching. So again, what I'm saying is last night wasn't about Bad Bunny and it being in English. Sometimes you got to just bob your head and listen to the music. He was bobbing. He was bobbing. And again, I think that was an introduction to a lot of people to Bad Bunny because you didn't know what to expect from Bad Bunny. Oh, he doesn't speak English. We ain't listening. You ain't never even seen the man perform, let alone heard a Bad Bunny song. So how are you just going to discount my man? Sometimes you got to just watch. The NFL knew exactly what he was doing last night. People always talk about Jay-Z. Oh, Jay-Z is the one that picks the halftime performances, and Jay-Z. At the end of the day, it has to be cleared by Roger Goodell. It has to go through other people other than Jay-Z. Sure, Jay-Z has an integral part, but Jay-Z don't own a team in the NFL. Jay-Z don't have a whole lot of say-so in the NFL. He probably can give a lot of suggestions, and he probably does, okay, maybe pick the artist, but that stuff has to be clear, and it's ultimately go through Roger Goodell. So Roger Goodell knew last night. The first game, the first game was in Brazil. Remember the Chiefs and the Chiefs and the Chargers? It was in Brazil. It was overseas. So the NFL is letting you know we're trying to become a global brand. And if we put him on the stage, that's going to give us unlimited reach all over the world. Because outside of America, everybody knew exactly what songs he was performing, exactly what he was doing last night. So again, shout out to my boy Benito, aka Babon. Babon, he did his thing last night. But let's get to the game, because that's the most important thing. The halftime show was good. I love the halftime show. But let's get to the game. And the game, for lack of a better words, was a good game, like defensively. However, New England couldn't figure it out last night. And I was shocked. Like, Mike Vrabel just didn't make an adjustment. Josh McDaniels made no adjustments last night. And again, Sam Darnold finished the game 19 for 38 with 1 touchdown. Drake May finished the game 23 for 47, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. The story of the game was the run game. That was the story of the game. It was defense and the run game. New England couldn't get the run game going. Travion Henderson only had 5 carries. Ramondre Stevenson, 7 carries. And what are we doing? Kenneth Walker by himself had 27 carries. And that's without Charbonnet. If Charbonnet was in the game, they probably would have had to split them carries. That was the theme last night, was going to be who was going to be able to control the line yesterday. And it was Seattle's offensive line, and it was Seattle's defensive line. And New England just looked slow. New England offense looked like it was stuck in neutral. Josh McDaniels just abandoned the run game. We're just going to throw the ball with Drake May. Drake May was the leading rusher last night for the Patriots. He had 37 yards rushing. Drake May, you started rushing the ball too late. In the second half, it was too late. The first half, you trying to stand in the pocket. Them Seahawks, I haven't watched a lot of Seattle this year. The only game I really just sat down and watched was the game against the Rams. And I'm like, okay, defense can be had. But last night, defensively, they like, we're going to go get Drake May. He doesn't pose a threat. He's not a Lamar Jackson, not a Josh Allen, not a Bo Nix, not a Justin Herbert, who kind of can move. Drake May will get out of there. But last night, they were blitzing. Mike McDonald, they had a perfect game plan last night for New England. We're going to blitz New England. New England had no explosive plays. No plays for Kayshon Boutte last night. No plays for Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs scuffling with Seahawks players. That was his highlight of the night. He fighting. He ain't trying to play football. He fighting. Stephon Diggs had 3 targets last night. Matt Hollins had 8. What's the problem? What's going on? So I thought New England coming into this football game plan-wise, to me, was all out of sync. It looked off. And they were too conservative. They were trying to play it like they played the Broncos. They were literally, Chris Collinsworth was saying it last night. They were playing the game conservatively like they played against the Broncos. Well, you can do that when you're playing against Jarrett Stidham because you know he doesn't pose a threat. Sam Darnold, Clint Kubiak in that offense last night was just going to be patient. They kind of were trying to take their shots, but New England was ready for it. Like, all right, you're not going to beat us deep. You're not going to beat us deep with Sheed. You're not going to beat us deep with Smith and Jigba. Cooper Kupp pretty much got everything over the middle, right? But you weren't going to beat us deep. So Seattle was just patient. Seattle just kept kicking field goals because they know, okay, eventually we're going to score. It's only so long New England's defense can just hold for. And they held pretty much through 3 quarters. The game was 12-0. Like, New England still had a chance in this football game. It's just offensively they couldn't do anything. And again, last week you were afforded to do that because you were playing in a blizzard and you were playing against a backup quarterback. But had they had Bo Nix, that game might have looked a little bit different. So, again, I was wrong. I was wrong. We wrong sometimes. Sometimes in life we wrong. I was wrong. But what the point was, I was talking about defense, and I didn't understand how, for real, Seattle's defense is. And now what we see is, again, if you can run that football, right? That's what they did with Kenneth Walker last night. He had 100 yards rushing, 27 carries. Was a Super Bowl 60 MVP. They just controlled the line of scrimmage. They just said, okay, we're going to run the ball. And then Mike Vrabel defensively didn't make any adjustments. Any adjustments last night. Mike Smith and Jigba didn't get off. Cool. Cooper Kupp did his thing, right? A.J. Barner caught a touchdown. But for the most part, they kind of kept Seattle's firepower in check through 3 quarters. That's all they could do. And again, what we've been seeing throughout these playoffs and throughout this year in general is if you have a really good defense, you can win with a game manager, right? People always talk about Trent Dilfer, game manager. Russell Wilson, looking back on it, was really just a game manager. Like, it's a lot of quarterbacks that are just game managers. Sam Darnold is a great game manager. This is his 5th team. They showed the graphic last night. The Jets, the Vikings, the 49ers, right? Dude have been everywhere. Now on the Seahawks. And again, he didn't have to play perfect last night. He just didn't have to turn the ball over. That was the name of the game. Who was going to not turn the ball over last night? They gave us 2. There it is. There it is. I thought the play of the game was that fumble recovery for a touchdown. That was the play of the game. Once that happened, I was like, yeah, this game's over. Like, New England just don't have a chance because it's just too late. Because then what happens is in the second half, it becomes a game of possession. So they were already down 2 possessions, meaning they were down 9 points. So that means in order to take the lead, they have to score twice. So when I talk about it's a possessions game, it comes down to, okay, you getting the ball and then you scoring. But you're not going to have that many times. You're not going to have the ball that many times because there's only 30 minutes left in the game. So again, last night it became about possessions with New England. And I just thought in that first half, a couple of times they were just too conservative. On 3rd and 8, they ran the ball. Like it was like 3rd and 7. Like, what are you doing? Josh McDaniels, what are you doing? Like, why are you playing tight right now? This is the Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs only had 3 targets. Are you serious? Like, what happened to Diggs last night? No explosive plays. All year long, y'all was going to Kayshawn Boutte. Last night, Matt Hollins was the leading receiver. Like, I'm missing something with this New England offense. And again, it was almost like, well, are y'all scared of Woolen and Witherspoon? They're good corners. But are they both all pro? To the point where you're just scared to throw at them? Like, it makes sense. No reverses for Diggs. Travion Henderson didn't get the football. So again, this New England football team yesterday, I'm not going to say just didn't look prepared, but just looked slow. Just looked slow. Same thing like I always say about Alabama. Sometimes Alabama, because of the fact that just of their brand and who they are, they could come off like, oh, they can just come into the game and they think they're going to just win the game. Same thing with the Patriots. And I was wrong. I picked the Patriots last night, but they look slow. Y'all let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on this Super Bowl last night because, again, I thought it was a good game. Again, I'm a football guy, so even if it's not scoring points, I love watching defense. Like last night, Christian Gonzalez is battling. Him and JSN are battling. In the trenches, they're battling. But again, I know for the common eye, they're looking for the firepower, the explosion, the touchdowns, right? I'm watching the game within the game. So again, y'all let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the Super Bowl, man. This is your boy Addison Tripp, aka Big Deal Music Group CEO. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I got more videos on the way.